Peace. What's the word? What's happening, everybody? Hopefully, everybody is having a powerful, positive, peaceful, productive, and healthy Wednesday. Man, I get my days mixed up. Hopefully, y'all having a peaceful, powerful, productive, positive Wednesday. Hopefully, y'all got about 30, 45 minutes to tap in, listen to the build, add on. I'm short on time, but hey, I'm gonna make good use of the time that I have. But before I do that, I'm gonna give y'all about 3 to 5 minutes to tap in with the kid. Let me know how y'all living and feeling on this wonderful Wednesday. What's the word? How we living and feeling on this wonderful Wednesday before we dive into the subject matter? Patrick, peace, what's happening? Cameron, peace, what's happening? What's the word? How we living? How we feeling on this wonderful Wednesday? Hey, Malik, peace, what's happening? Y'all see the subject matter, man. We asking questions. Magic, peace, what's happening? And this is what I try to tell my sisters, man. Just like I tell my brothers, if you want to learn something, or if you want to learn how to resolve the issues that we have amongst each other, then you have to listen to the other side. So as a black man, if I feel like my problem or the problem that we have, the black woman, then I'm going to listen to what it is that she's saying, and vice versa. You know, if she feel like the problem is black men, then the way to solve that problem is to go to the source and listen to what he is saying his problems are, and vice versa. That's the only way we really gonna turn things around. You know, if we strive to gain that understanding of each side. And this is one of the topics that I feel like kind of gets swept under the rug in regards to the sentiments of a lot of brothers feeling like people do not listen to them, feeling like their opinion doesn't matter. I know a lot of brothers that feel this way, feel like, what's the point of me talking? What's the point of me venting, doing this, that, and the third, because nobody is listening. So I know a lot of brothers that fit in that category. So I wanted to tap in and I wanted to focus on this subject matter, man. Hey, clocks in, peace, what's happening? Ray, peace, what's happening? What's the word? Magic, everything is peace. Hey, Cameron, we in that break. We on that break chilling. But yeah, I know a lot of brothers that fit that description. And that's why a lot of brothers feel like they don't have any person to vent to, or they don't have any safe place where they can kind of vent and all that type of good stuff, because they feel like at the end of the day, nobody cares. So that led me to ask this question: do we feel like as black men we are the least listened to demographic? I'm gonna let y'all answer that. Do y'all feel that way? My brother Antonio, peace, what's happening? Do you brothers, Lindell, peace, what's happening? Do you brothers feel like we as black men are the least listened to demographic? Do y'all feel that way? Do y'all feel like y'all are the least? Do y'all feel like we are? Because I ain't gonna say y'all, because I'm in this group too. Do y'all feel like we are the least listened to demographic? And if so, why do you feel like that is? Now that's important too. So not only do we got to answer the question, whether it's yes or no, but we got to give a why. You have to elaborate. Why do you feel like we are the least listened to demographic? You have to break that down. When you start, the more you start to break it down, the more you start to gain an understanding of what's really going on. But again, do you brothers feel like we are the least listened to demographic, and why? Whatever your answer is, why do you feel that way? You know, of course, I got my own opinions on the subject matter, man, but I want to hear from some of y'all first in regards to how y'all feel about this particular question. Patrick, you say, yep, definitely. Now go ahead and elaborate on that, yep. I've been had it. You say the least listened to and the most watched. Hey, I could definitely see that. We definitely the most watched. The most watched and the most scrutinized. You know, so that goes with being the most watched. When you are the most watched, you are the most scrutinized. So we are definitely the most scrutinized. That, to me, that's hands down. Like that right there, we don't even need to debate that. You know, the listen to thing, we can kind of debate that. You know, everybody feel like don't nobody listen to them. But when it comes to scrutiny, when it comes to who's the most scrutinized, who gets torn down the most in the media, who gets depicted incorrectly the most in the media, that is us. We are number one, and it ain't even close. I would never debate that one. We are definitely the most scrutinized. We definitely the most scrutinized, and we definitely get the worst depictions via the media and things like that. Not even close. There is no competition on that one. Magic, you say the least listened to and the most disrespected. Now that's the most disrespected. Yeah, that's wild. I can definitely see that though. I can see that. Least listened to and the most disrespected. So right now we got three answers. Got three brothers that saying yes, we are the least listened to. I'm gonna need for some other brothers to go ahead and chime in. How y'all feel? Are we the least listened to demographic? Black men. Go ahead and give me that answer. Clockson, you say this is definitely one of the safe spaces for sure. And that's what, I strive to have my platform be that way because I know how a lot of brothers feel, especially just having a judgment-free zone. See, a lot of times we mess around and we vent, but we getting judged off of the vent. So I always make sure, man, when brothers come around me just getting things off their chest, I'm not judging what they telling me. I'm not judging them. Strive not to judge folks when they come to me venting, especially when it's brothers, because I already know how we feel when it comes to that, man. Probably been holding all that stuff in, man. You know, get it off your chest. All right, my good brother Antonio, you say, yep, because society has been programmed to view black men as failures. We make excuses if we do vent. Hurts even more when our women condemn us, just like the mass media. Miss Nia, peace, what's happening? 100%. And I think that public perception that they enforced on the people is a big reason why we feel as if we are the least listened to. And the reason why that may be an actual fact. The whole public perception. You know, I had interesting conversations, man, with a few people the other day, just revolving around my hair, fam. Like conversations be crazy, and it just shows you how the media really has brainwashed folks. It was a crazy conversation, man. The client was pretty much asking me, do I feel like my hair has had anything to do, you know, with me not getting jobs, things like that. And I was like, for sure, I already know it has. Then the client proceeded to ask me, she was like, can you name somebody that's in the media, obviously, like that's on TV, all that type of stuff, that is a positive, that's like has a positive image that has locks. And I told her, like, she was basically saying that, like, anytime or every time I see somebody, a black man with some locks in the media, they causing trouble. And I proceeded to tell her, said the interesting thing about that, I said, your biggest troublemakers are the owners of these corporations. I said, the biggest troublemakers are the people who controlling this media that you're talking about. And a lot of them are clean cut, wear suits, things like that. And I said, that's by design that you don't see a lot of brothers that have hair like mine on TV and television. But I said, there's plenty of good brothers out here, positive brothers with locks that don't necessarily smoke weed all day and go rob, steal, and kill folks. But the media will not show you that. And that's done intentionally so that exactly how she felt is how most people can feel. She was programmed. In her mind, she has associated brothers with locks to be a certain type of way, so that when a brother with locks, such as myself, comes into the mix, don't smoke, don't drink, don't do none of that nonsense, she looking at me like I'm crazy, like I'm different, I'm weird. Nah, it's plenty of us out here. Plenty of us out here, man. Plenty of us. I'm not the only brother with locks that's like a decent brother that ain't stealing and robbing, you know? But she was like, nah, when every time she look on the news or look in the media, when she sees somebody with some locks causing problems, I said that is by design. Yes, by design. I said these people that own these corporations that's showing you these images, they are the real criminals. And they wear suits, ties, and all this other good stuff. But I brought that up just to kind of show how the media has really brainwashed our people and how people will believe exactly what it is that the media is showing. They believe it, and that's why a lot of us brothers, we get so upset when we are depicted in a certain light when it comes to these TV shows and these movies and things like that. And people act like it's not a big deal, but it really is, man. We tired of getting depicted in a certain light because that's messing up the perception that people have of us, man. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And we get tired of seeing that nonsense, man. We get tired of seeing it. Well, Caleb, the question, I forgot to put that part into the question that she asked me. It basically couldn't be a rapper or something like that. It had to be somebody that didn't rap and all that had locks, that was it like on TV, that was positive. I mentioned a wrestler. I had to say Booker T. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know Booker T be out here on TV and he still got his locks. I was like, that's crazy. But that's part of the requirement, man. They're not going to allow brothers to be on these platforms with locks. Like, that's part of the dress code. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be black. You can't have long hair. That's part of the dress code for a lot of these platforms. So you're not going to see a bunch of brothers with locks on TV, on these platforms. The only time you're going to see brothers with locks is when we are doing what I'm doing. Literally. Moni Peace, what's happening? All right, let me tap in with some of these responses, though. I've been had you say, due to the media, they make us appear to be ignorant, oversexed criminals. Who wants to listen to that? Exactly. Exactly. But the crazy part about it is, I've been had it. The crazy part about that is, though, that's the crazy part, is that we tend to not get listened to the most when we actually have something to offer. That be the problem. That's what I've noticed in my personal life. You know what I'm saying? Like, people tend to not listen to the black man when he actually has something valuable and constructive to say. When we say a bunch of nonsense and we say a bunch of BS, then it's like everybody is tuning in and tapped in. But when we got something constructive to say, when we actually out here building, then that's when everybody fails to listen to us. When I'm out here giving people nutrition advice, ain't nobody listening. They don't listen. The white doctor or the white nutritionist or the white dietitian, whatever, tell them what to do, now they listening. Or the white trainer tell them what to eat, now they listening. I tell them what to eat, how to eat, and I might have said the same exact thing. They not listening. But then when I start talking about something that don't matter, you get around a bunch of brothers, you get around some sisters and you talk about something that's ignorant, they might be listening to you. They might listen to you. So this is something that I have noticed, and that's unfortunate. But when the black man is coming with a message and he's standing on his square and he actually has something to offer, that's when folks like, all right, we ain't listening to dude. Now, dude actually making sense? Like, that's interesting. And that's something that I have observed. The times where I'm actually coming with something of substance, something of value that can be backed with sources, folks don't want to listen to that. Lindell, she said, I don't feel that way due to the epic escalation of hip-hop rap the past 40 plus years. We have a voice through our music. Oh, yeah, we definitely got a voice through the music. 100% right and exact. Ray, what you say, I can agree with that. Why our image is tainted and we are not doing a good job rebranding. Character flaws of a brother weighs more than our ability to lead. Hey, and that's a good point too, that we not doing a lot to rebrand ourselves, which unfortunately we have to do due to how they done branded us in the first place. All right, Cameron, what you said, I do believe we are the least listened to because the people we do try to share with give us pushback instead of listening. Why would you want to share if you keep getting pushback? That drains. 1,000%. And the pushback, exactly what I was just talking about. it gets to a point, and I didn't heard this from a lot of brothers. It gets to a point where, and this is unfortunate, but this is what I've heard. I've heard a lot of brothers and a lot of men tell me this. You know, a lot of elder black men, like it gets to a point where they be like, man, I don't even listen. Like they'd be talking about even the relationship that they may be in. They like, man, I just tell her what she want to hear because I ain't got time to argue with her. It's a shame that you got to feel that way, man. It's a shame that you got to feel that way, fam. You tell somebody the truth that you with, and the whole relationship is supposed to be built on honesty. Where you like, man, if you tell them the truth, then you feel like you got to be arguing with them, man. You shouldn't have to be feeling like that. That's ridiculous, you know. But I done heard plenty of people say that, man. I just don't even ask me something, man. I just tell her what she want to hear because I ain't got time to be arguing with her, man. It shouldn't be like that. Shouldn't be like that. Somebody should be able to tell you the truth, especially when it's somebody that you trust and somebody that you rock with. They should be able to tell you the truth and not have to argue, not have to go back and forth, you know, especially if you asking them for it. You know, come on now. Hey, I've been had it. Hey, for sure, appreciate that. But of course, hey, you know I'm not gonna be displayed on the media like that. Antonio, for sure. Yeah, they kill me with that. They kill me with that. It's hilarious when they start talking like that. All right, Magic, what you say? I say least listen and most disrespected because there's a lot of good black men with good traits. However, society depicts negative images of black men for sure. Man, I can relate to that 100%. Being a positive brother getting depicted in a negative light for a very long time in my younger years. Had no type of criminal record, but was getting put in that box simply because of the way that I was looking, you know, and that's unfortunate. So then when you paint a person as a criminal long enough, it's like I ain't even gonna say manifestation, but man, listen, if you tell me something about myself enough times, man, repetition is king. I might start to believe that about myself, you know. So if the right people keep telling me something about myself that's negative, eventually, man, I might say, you know what? They keep calling me a criminal. I might just be one. And then I start engaging in those acts, man. So that tends to happen, fam. That tends to happen. Roderick, you say, yep, it's true. Hey, we already know, yeah, we for sure we know who the real thugs are. Internet piece, what's happening? Oh yeah. I see we tapping in. We tapping in on these answers here. Let me see. When we do drop knowledge, we think we know everything. That leads to us shutting down and adding input. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. We get called know-it-alls and all that. And for this whole time, you might not have been adding on in any significant way. And when you do come up with some information or some knowledge with some value behind it, then now all of a sudden you know it all. It's like, nah, I think I just know a little something about this stuff that I'm studying. Not everything, though. Now, you do got some folks that they got an answer for everything, but hey, you know, if I've been researching something, then I'm going to add my input based on what I've been researching. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But hey, I already know getting called to know it all, thinking you know everything, this, that, and the third. Just because, man, you didn't finally started to add some input to something, you know, because you didn't learn a little something. But when you wasn't saying anything, nobody had a problem with you. Then when you start speaking up for yourself and when you start dropping little jewels here and there, now all of a sudden you know everything. But again, when you was remaining silent, nobody really had a problem. Or when you were just saying a bunch of nonsense, stuff that was incorrect, nobody had a problem with you. They got a problem when you actually know a little something. And they can't just tell you anything. You know, it's all cool when you having these conversations with folks and you not standing on the square that opposes what they are talking about or what they bringing to you. You know, the moment you stand up and you have a different opinion based on some research that you did, now everybody is a problem. You would know it all. Lil LA, stay live. You say we are taught to work for the slave, Matt. 100%. You already know I'd have built on that. Y'all already know I'd have built on that one before. Now, what you say, Cameron? You say, or worse, they say making sense is corny. A lot of people believe that you're trying to spread knowledge is corny and or unrealistic. Especially coming from where there's a lot of low vibration. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. You kicking that, you kicking that knowledge. It's almost like if y'all are Nas fans and y'all know that song Black Girl Lost, it's almost like y'all remember the beginning portion of that song when them two girls was talking and like he on that Back to Africa, all that type of stuff, when they was basically making fun of dude for dropping that knowledge, being on that type of time. Like that's how it be sometimes, man, when you come and dropping these Jews and dropping that knowledge. It's like the beginning of that Black Girl Lost song with Nas, man. Like it's exactly like that. Like, oh, who this dude? Here he come with these books and things like that. Like it's a problem. Like I'm coming with some guns. Like if I show up to the joint with some guns, everybody cool, everybody feeling secure, all that, ain't nobody tripping. Like look at dude showed up with his gun on him. I show up with some books, it's almost like I'm about to kill somebody. Like the way people look at you when you coming to the function with the knowledge, with the books and the book bag full of all this material, man, that's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. But we pull up to the function with all the guns. Everybody intrigued. Let me see that gun. Let me hold that gun. I come with some books. Here you go. Here you go preaching again. Antonio, what you say? We as people love dysfunction. Relationships today, sadly, are boring if that's not included. For 100%. Yeah, they like the conflict. They like the dysfunction. They like the toxicity, you know, the negativity. And again, that's from the depict all that love and hip hop, all that drama, all that nonsense. Like that's what that created in our society, man. It created that desire and that hunger for that dysfunction. They kept showing, again, repetition. They're gonna keep showing us this black dysfunction. Now that's what we crave. That's what we crave. We see all these folks with this so-called money on these platforms acting a fool. Now we like, all right, that's what I want. Man, that's some nonsense, man. That's some nonsense. And Sharif, what you say? I probably got 2 women outside of my mom who I can confide in. Even then, that's after self-reflection, meditation, and journaling. Hey, and that's real, man. I'm telling you, a lot of brothers feel like that, man. Sisters, I hope y'all taking notes. I hope y'all taking notes, man. Like, brothers truly feel this way. Brothers truly feel this way, fam. Hey, Scarface said it in the song, man. I can't talk to my mother, so I talk to my diary. You know what I'm saying? He said he got this killer up inside of me. I can't talk to my mother, so I talk to my diary. Like, it's like, man, that's how we be feeling sometimes, fam. That's how I be feeling. Hey, Wise, peace. What's happening? What's happening? Patrick, the language is very different. Very different. Magic, yep, the know-it-all card gets hit a lot, fam. It gets hit a lot. And I'm like, man, and then again, we only can take, listen, I ain't gonna speak for all the brothers, but it's only so many times you about to come at me a certain type of way when I'm just trying to help or when I'm trying to add my 2 cents that you asked for. You know, when somebody asks me a question, because I'm not one to volunteer a bunch of information. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not just about to beat you over the head with some information. What they say, when the teacher is ready, the student will, or when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, all that type of good stuff. That's how I feel. When somebody wants to know something, they ask a question. You know, so if you want to know something, you ask a question. So when people ask me a question and I give my 2 cents, and then I find myself having to argue with you, like I'm only going to be able to take that so many times. It's going to get to a point where I'm not even going to answer the question when you ask me a question, because every time I answered the question, it has led to some arguments. So therefore, that leads me to believe that you actually don't want the honest opinion. You want me to tell you something that you want to hear. You want me to confirm what it is that you want to do. You know, the direction that you want to go. You want me to confirm and validate that. Not going to do that. I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm assuming that's why you would be asking me, you know, what would I do or what do I think? So I'm going to tell you what I would do and what I think. You know what I'm saying? So again, when that gets met with a lot of resistance and opposition too many times, then eventually it's like, man, just stop asking me these questions. I don't want to answer questions if I feel like I have to argue, you know. And a lot of times, man, certain things I don't even really like explaining, because if you ask me something about anything and you say, what would you do? And then I tell you what I would do. Like, it's just that. This is, you asked me what I would do and I told you. What do I need to explain this for? I told you what I would do. Now, you ain't got to do what I would do, but I'm telling you this is how I would do it. Or this is what I would do. You know, like, I don't got time to argue about stuff like that, going back and forth, when I didn't jump up and volunteer this information anyway. You asked me. So when I'm sitting back chilling and somebody comes and asks me a question and they don't like my response, it's like, man, get out of my face with that. I can see if I got in your face and volunteered some information trying to tell you what to do. But when that's not the case, man, why would I have to be arguing with you when you ask me a question? You know, and hey, as crazy as that sounds, that happens. And it happens a lot. You know, for real. All right, yeah, that's a good one. I almost forgot about the Minister Society joint. Yeah, that Black Pot, like, they've been talking bad about it for a very long time. You know, they've made brothers that striving to get knowledge corny for a very long time. Very, very long time. They have made us out to be corny. It's been a lot of work put into that, making us out to be very corny when we out here just, they say, trying to kick knowledge. You know, made us out to be very corny. Tony, 100%. 100%. Hey, Moni, there you go. We taking notes. You know, I tell people all the time on both sides, we could get much further in life if all we did, we just learn to listen and strive to gain an understanding. Notice I said strive to gain an understanding. Sometimes you might not get the understanding, but as long as you striving to understand somebody, man, that's good enough. That's good enough. You know, we can get a lot further on both sides if we just listened. Listen, fam. Listen without judgment. Listen without judgment, man. Listen, man. I'm telling you, you get you an honorable black man that you trust and you listen to him. That goes a very long way. Goes a very long way when you listen to him and don't meet everything with some type of opposition, especially when he got your best interests at heart. Now, I'm not telling you to just accept everything on face value. I'm not just telling you to swallow up everything that he's telling you. Like, nah, you got to have a mind of your own for sure. You got to have a mind of your own for sure, man. But when it comes to certain things, man, you got to trust that leadership and you got to trust that guidance, especially when you asking him some questions. And I've realized a lot of women, they ask their men questions. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm talking about it like that, man. A lot of women, they gonna ask their man some questions. And a lot of times women get upset when the dude tell them the truth. So what is the point of you asking a question? What's the point? What is the point? Like, stop doing that. You know, if you with an honorable dude that you trust, that you respect, when you ask him a question and he gives you an answer, he has your best interest at heart. He's not telling you something that will lead to your destruction. He's giving you advice, or he's giving you a perspective that he feels will help you, fam. So that's not a time to be arguing, going back and forth, or even just telling them, oh, well, I don't like that idea. Well, what? Who cares? He didn't volunteer that. You asked him. Hey, Moni, man, listen, twice as much as you speak. Man, I remember reading somewhere Elijah Muhammad said, man, listen, what he say, man, you should And even just outside of listening, he was like, you should think, about 5 to 7 times, like 5 to 7 times before you speak. So even in response, like just think it over 5 to 7 times before you get a response. A lot of times we feel like a response has to be immediate. Like, man, it's okay with somebody telling you something and you responded the next day after you done thought about it and slept on it. We feel like we got to respond to things immediately when somebody tells us something. Somebody tell you something, you got to respond instantly. Oh, man, they said something, let me respond now. Like, man, you didn't think about that response, man. So how accurate, how precise is your response when you respond immediately? Think it over. Think it over. I know y'all and all been in those conversations and had them dialogues where, man, y'all was chopping it up back and forth. And then on your way home from the dialogue, you done thought about all this extra stuff that you forgot to include in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like you driving back like, hey, man, I forgot to mention this. I forgot to mention that. I forgot to mention this. I'm trying to tell you, man, when you think, man, come on. That's going to make that response a lot better, man, especially when it's something big. Like when the conversation, the implications behind this conversation are huge, take your time with the response, fam. Especially also when the emotions are high, when everybody is riled up. That is really not the time to be going back and forth, man, because y'all about to start saying a bunch of nonsense. Man, walk away from it. De-escalate the situation. Walk away. Go think. Man, what actually just caused this? Was it really that serious? When you start asking yourself these questions, the answer is going to always be no, it wasn't that serious. So why am I tripping? Why am I tripping? It wasn't that serious, so why am I tripping? But when you start instantly responding to the anger that was thrown at you, now you fighting that fire with fire, man, and that's not the way to go about it. But, man, you got to think before you speak, before you respond. Listening, the science and art of listening, man. Listen, comprehend all of these things. Pay attention to detail. Sometimes it's not even what a person tells you, it's what they didn't tell you. So you got to pay attention to all that. That's a part of listening. See, we think listening just includes paying attention to what somebody has told me. When you truly listening, you are also paying attention to what a person did not tell you, what they failed to mention. That's important. And that's part of listening. That's a big part of listening. Like, man, I was talking to such and such and they forgot to mention this. We was talking about X, Y, and Z and they forgot to mention this. I wonder, I feel like this was a valuable piece of this conversation that they didn't mention it. Interesting. So you got to pay. That's how you really listen. Like, man, they didn't mention this. You observing, you paying attention to detail. Like, that's real listening. Again, like it's deeper than what they are telling you. It's deeper than the words that they are uttering. Again, the words that were not uttered, they are also important. Got to pay attention to all of that. And that's real. Moni, for sure, 100%. It's definitely fine, especially like I said, if it's a big conversation, and that was your response to whatever it is has major implications behind it, it's definitely okay to be like, man, let me get back to you on that one. I ain't about to answer that immediately. My response has some major implications behind it, so let me go ahead and get back to you on this one, man. I ain't about to answer this immediately. I got to think about this. And I'm trying to tell you, man, when you start thinking about it, man, boom, it take your response to the next level. DJ Elmo Peace, what's happening? Ready for show. And yeah, things definitely get lost in translation. Definitely. I didn't seen that too many times, man, when you texting just typing. You know, people misinterpret a lot of things when it comes to the written word. They misinterpret a lot. Elmo, what you say? Example is when a black man went to an Asian beauty shop that assaulted sisters and pleaded with black female customers not to patronize. They ignored him and still patronize. Oh, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, and that's what I was saying. When we actually come in with some solutions, like when we bringing solutions to the table, fam, people don't want to listen. Like when we come in with some actual solutions, man, with some things going wrong in your life, and this brother is coming with some solutions, mugs don't want to hear that. But if mugs want to sit around, smoke, be lazy, be destructive, everybody cool. You know, but it's the moment that the brother coming with something of value, some solutions to your problems, all that, and want to hear that. Again, it makes them uncomfortable. They not used to this black man having knowledge of himself and having answers. They used to the media's depiction of the black man being lost, being a savage, being ignorant. That's what they are used to. So when that brother is coming with knowledge of himself and actually coming with solutions instead of like nothing to offer, then they thrown off and confused. It throws them off. See, some people, some women appreciate it. Some women like, nah, they reject that. They reject it. But they not used to that, man. When the brother's coming with knowledge of himself and he giving you some solid answers and some solid solutions to your problems, they like, wait a minute. Wait a minute, man. Instead of him, like he actually telling me how to eat right, to get in shape, and he actually telling me we can go to the gym together. Now I ain't got no excuse. You know what I'm saying? So you done came to this brother with problems with your weight, like you don't like where your weight is at, and that brother done told you, all right, this is what we finna do. We finna eat like this, and we finna go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're gonna go walk. So now, whoa, wait a minute. Now you with somebody that's holding you accountable, and he not only is he holding you accountable, he about to walk this thing, he about to walk through this fire with you. So now you have no excuse. That makes some people uncomfortable. That makes some people uncomfortable. They don't like that. They want to be like, oh, well, that's messed up. Or just feel sorry for them and then just sit around and eat more garbage and get bigger. Like they want stuff like that. A lot of people want stuff like that. I'm not going to say they, but there are a lot of people that want some stuff like that. But when that brother like, look, you about to stop eating this fast food, finna start eating these salads. You know what I'm saying? And we about to, all this other nonsense, forget watching these shows real quick. We about to go to the gym on these days. We're going to work this way. We're going to do this. We're going to drop these pounds together. Like that's what you should want out of life. You know, you feeling tired and lethargic all the time, and your man with you, your man like, all right, look, this is what we about to do. This how we about to start eating. This is what we about to go do. But again, that might make some people uncomfortable. Oh yeah, Antonio, for sure. And I definitely, Goldie, peace, what's happening? I definitely learned that early in the game. Early in the game in regards to being real mindful of who I gave certain pieces of information to. You know, a lot of times, of course, when I'm younger, I'm naive. So I'm thinking in the younger years when I'm coming into this knowledge, I'm thinking if somebody asks me about something, then they must want to know the truth. That was me being naive and gullible back in the day. I'm thinking if you ask me about a particular subject, then you want to know the truth. That was me using common sense, forgetting that the world doesn't operate under the law of common sense. You know, but I realized quickly that that was a lie. Just because somebody is asking you about something don't necessarily mean they want to know the truth or a solution. Doesn't mean it. As crazy as that sounds, like you would think if I ask you, hey, I'm having problems losing weight, what can I do? Common sense will tell you that this person wants to hear the truth about what they need to do to lose the weight. That ain't necessarily the truth. That ain't necessarily true. I've learned that. I've learned it. Chaos, peace, what's happening? Moni, exactly. And everybody got time for that. Hey, I know I don't speak for all men, but I know I'm real short on patience when it comes to the pity party. Like, I don't have time for that. For one, that drains me. Like, that's real draining to be around somebody that's like that, man. That's draining. I don't want to absorb that type of feeling and that type of energy. So again, that's why my patience is real thin with those type of people, because it affects me, fam. Like, that drains my energy. It drains the life out of me when somebody is just around me complaining, negative, all this type of good stuff. No, like, I don't have time for that. You're not about to bring me down to that level. So I'm gonna rise you up before you bring me down. I'm gonna raise you up before you bring me down. We not doing that. So I don't have time for that. That's why my patience is real thin. When somebody start presenting me with a problem, I'm quick to ask you, all right, so what you doing about it? Well, if you ain't doing anything, this is what I recommend. Like, for real. Oh yeah, little LA. Hey, magnetism. Hey man, we yeah, that's a whole different subject matter right there for the magnetism. Roderick, man, we already know. And Malcolm X was one of them good brothers. He was one of them feared brothers. Abdul, for sure. For sure. You know, so it's all but yeah, and the indoctrination is real though, you know. And again, so when I was coming up, or when I was coming into this knowledge, coming into certain things, like I said, I assumed, I'm like, if somebody asks me about it, they want to know the truth. Not necessarily so, you know. But when it comes to certain things, though, man, when you looking at somebody as a potential spouse and things like that, man, it shouldn't be a lot of opposition to things that are helpful. You know, that's how I feel. You know, if you and somebody else in a relationship, fam, and like, we're gonna take eating healthy as an example. Eating healthy only benefits both parties. Eating healthy is not something that's destructive. Yeah, it may be uncomfortable, but it's not something that's destructive. So when one of the parties be like, man, we need to start eating healthier. Like, if the other party, the recipient, is resisting that and they real negative towards that, man, that to me is a real big red flag. It's a real big red flag. You know, with something like, when it's something like that, man, something that will benefit both parties, something that will add on years to our lives. Like, why are you so negative and hostile towards something like that? That's ridiculous. Especially when that person is like, man, I don't feel like I have any support from like my family. So they probably bringing this to you so that you can be one of the ones that support them and walk through this thing with them, because they don't have anybody else. You know, so if you meet that with a lot of hostility, man, that's weird to me. Now, again, if you just be like, man, I don't think I'm ready to make that type of change yet, but when I am, I'm gonna do it, all that. You know, when you leave the door open, that's another thing, man. But when you close the door immediately on it and start going crazy on him and start trying to like teasing them and all that, man, dude say he about to stop eating pork. Then the next day you making bacon for breakfast. Like, man, I done heard all type of stuff like that. Like, that's foul. And you shouldn't stick around a person that's on that type of time. Like, man, you telling this person what you trying to stay away from, and they intentionally trying to bring it around you because you tried to put them on game to help them out. Like, we don't do that. Yeah, we don't do that. Man, Roger, man, hey, I'm already knowing. I used to walk around with the books all the time. I mean, I keep the books on me now, but they be in my bag. But I used to walk around with the books all the time, man. Get all type of looks, from all different types of people. And everybody always assumed you was in school, but it's like, nah, man, I'm reading this because this is what I do. All right, man. That's the only way to do it, for real. But I ain't got time for that. I'm not gonna lie. I don't give people that power anymore, man. I don't give people the power. I don't give people that power to drain me. Like I said, you about to get this energy. You know, you gonna get this energy that I got. You know, all that complaining, stop doing it. You know, you're gonna get this powerful energy, this energy that's telling you to persevere, push through whatever it is. You're not about to, it's not about to rub off on me, man, because that stuff is contagious, fam. Stuff is contagious, man. That energy, people talk about energy, man, it is contagious. That stuff rub off on you if you allow it to. You know, so you got to be mindful of that. You know, sometimes if you don't say anything, if you don't oppose the other person's energy, man, you're going to find yourself consuming it and then becoming that. Like, man, if you don't oppose that negative energy, next thing you know, you mad, you depressed, you sad. And you trying to realize, you trying to figure out where it came from. It came from that conversation you had 5 hours ago from that person that just drained you and put all they problems on you and walked off on you. Yeah, Antonio, yeah, hey, and we don't deal with them. That's why I say, man, when I give a solution, it's something that I'm practicing myself, or at least I have attempted. You know what I'm saying? I'm always give people the game based off of something, based off of my experiences and based off of my current research and all that type of good stuff, man. But you always supposed to apply everything to self first. Always. That's always the key. The first reason why you came across any of the knowledge that you came across was to apply it to self first. Then once you apply it to self, now you go teach somebody else. You know, but you came across that information first and foremost for yourself. You know, you came across this information of healthy eating for yourself first. Then now it's your duty to teach somebody else. You know, teach those that's willing to listen. You know, that's how the game's supposed to go. But a lot of times we skip that part of the process. We skip that part of the process. We don't apply it to self. We just go try to distribute it to everybody else. You're like, nah, you got to apply that. You got to apply that to yourself first. When you come across that knowledge, you came across it first. You know, so you got to apply the lesson first. You got to experience it first. And now, okay, boom, now it's time for me to teach what I learned. We be a little too quick to say, oh man, I just learned this. Let me go tell somebody else. Like, nah, you can't do that. Again, sit with that knowledge for a minute. Sit with that knowledge. Turn it into wisdom first. You know what I'm saying? Like, basically put it into motion first. Learn how to do that. You know, when you come across that information, when you come across that knowledge, sit with it first. Put it into motion. Then it's like, all right, now I'm going to teach. You know, you ain't got to instantly try to give somebody some game that you just learned yesterday. You ain't got to do that. Dale, what's happening? TJ, what's happening? Ray, hey, not at all. What they say on that high horse, like I ain't never been on that. You know, talking to people in a condescending manner and all that type of good stuff. Like I say, most people don't even know what type of time I be on unless they observe it, you know, because I'm not the one bashing you over the head with it. I'm not showing up to the function like, hey, I'm plant-based, I'm vegan, and this how I eat. I'm finna eat all these fruits and vegetables while y'all eat all this swine and kill yourselves. Like, nah, I go grab my little plate, and the only time people know what I really be on is when they look at my plate and somebody says something. Like, I'm minding my business. You know, so I'm never on my high horse. I'm never thinking I'm better than somebody because of the decisions that I've made. The problem is other people start to feel like that because of their insecurity. So they see the moves that I'm making, and then they feeling some type of way. So now they got to blow it up and make it bigger than what it is. And that's exactly what has happened to me quite a few times in life. I just be minding my business, doing my own little thing, going to get my plate, get my little salad, and then somebody got to come up and blow that out of proportion. All you gonna eat is a salad? Man, I wouldn't bother nobody. It's 50 other people in here, and you decide to single me out with my salad. You ain't critiquing nobody else's plate, but you come find me and you want to ask me loud as you can, this all I'm going to eat. Now you have made this bigger than what it is. Now I got to say, well, I don't eat X, Y, and Z. And now everybody knows. And now it appears as if I'm on my high horse. But I wasn't bothering nobody at first. I wasn't going out of my way to tell everybody what I was on. But it'd be that one person that's insecure, that don't have discipline, that got to blow this out of proportion. And that has happened to me a lot of times. You know, like it'd be times where I don't even complain, fam. Like I'd be at a place where people know me, didn't look out for me, and man, I got, like I say, a little salad. And I got to eat that little salad while it's a million other options that I can't eat. I could be in there complaining, fam. I could be like, man, y'all knew I was coming, man. Y'all should have had something else on this menu for me. Man, I will go get my salad, man, and I'll chill on out. I ain't complaining about the lack of options that I have. I decided to eat this way. I can't expect for everybody to bow down to the way that I'm eating and have something on the menu for me. It is what it is. If they got more options, cool. If they don't, it is what it is, man. You know, but I don't cause any problems. I stay in my lane, mind my business. But when you come at me incorrectly and you try to blow things out of proportion, now I'm going to address you as such. And now I'm going to tell you about the stuff that you're doing and how that will essentially kill you before it's really your time. So I can get grimy, but I choose not to. But what you're not about to do is disrespect me. You know, that's another thing, especially just on a man, like on being a man, like disrespect. Can't tolerate that. Like disrespect is not tolerated, like at all. You know, the disrespect, when I feel like you disrespecting me, that's going to get addressed every time. Like disrespect don't get tolerated at all. And a lot of times when you approach disrespect a certain type of way, people call you emotional, things like that, when really the person that went out of their way to say some trash to you was the emotional one. You was just addressing the nonsense. You weren't gonna let it slide. But when you address it, now you get called emotional, sentimental, all that type of stuff. Man, I'm not emotional, bro. You said something that was disrespectful to my lifestyle and I corrected you on it. There's nothing emotional about that. Man, Moni, I'm trying to tell you, now, after being this way for a very long time, it ain't as bad as it was in the beginning for me. In the beginning, it was pretty much trash, man. It was to the point, man, I about ready to fight folk. You know, because it was already hard enough to do it when I did it. But then, man, when there's people that supposed to be fam, man, they thinking it's funny, man, making all these corny jokes, man, and they keep bringing all this food around you, trying to entice you. Like, all right, at a point now, you ready to throw hands because you're like, man, I was just eating this type of food last month, you know, and y'all bringing this food around me, man. Like now you being a little disrespectful, you know. So that stuff a lot of that stuff didn't used to sit well with me way back when. Now it's not as bad. Mugs they know how I'm coming when I come into the building. I've been this way for so long. All the jokes, they dead now. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't keep saying them same jokes. So now they just accept it for what it is. And if it is a slick joke, man, they already know what the response is gonna be. They done seen my response enough times. Mugs don't want none of that smoke because they know what I'm gonna say. And I'm gonna say some stuff that's gonna make them uncomfortable. And they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear it. So they'd rather keep the peace around me now. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it because, like I say, I don't be bothering nobody, man. I mind my business, man. I drink my smoothie, drink my water, whatever the case may be. I'm minding my business, man. I don't go out of my way to bother anybody. As I said, even y'all see me on social media, man. I'm not in nobody else's chat, man. I don't be doing nothing. I don't be bothering nobody. I just do my little stuff, man, and then I go about my business, go about my life. Man, y'all can't sit here and say y'all have seen me in the chat causing problems on anybody else's platform. Man, never that. And I actually could have valid, you know, reasons to do so. and I don't. You know, I be chilling, man. I don't be bothering nobody, minding my business, man. And there's a lot of brothers that fit that bill, man. We not trying to cause no smoke, cause no harm. But when you bring the smoke to us, we gonna stand up. We gonna stand up to it. We not gonna tolerate the garbage when you bring it in this direction. You know? But we not going out looking for it. We ain't going out looking for it, but we ain't gonna run from it if it's brought to us. I'll put it that way. But y'all, man, with that being said, I gotta make this move. I said I was kind of short on time, went overtime a little bit, but it's all good though, man. This was this powerful build. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with the kid. I'm gonna let y'all get back to enjoying the rest of y'all Wednesday, man. I don't know why I feel like a Thursday to me, man. These weeks be throwing me off. But man, I'm gonna let y'all get back to enjoying the rest of y'all day. Y'all be easy, man. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate y'all answering the question. I appreciate the add-ons and all that good stuff, man. But y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Wednesday. I'm gonna try to tap back in with y'all one of these days, Thursday or Friday. Look out for me one of those days. But y'all be easy though. I'm out. Peace.